Some of us wake up and immediately let our minds rush into worry, fear, and overwhelm. Bills, deadlines, traffic, responsibilities. Before we even open our eyes, our hearts are already in chaos. But what if I told you that the very first thing you say each morning can transform your entire day? What if the moment you rise, the words you speak to God and to yourself could set the tone for peace, clarity, and victory? Jesus showed us the way. He didn't begin his days reacting to the pressures of life. He began with gratitude. He began by connecting with the source of all wisdom and strength. And when you start your day like that, the impossible begins to feel possible. The burdens become lighter and your path becomes illuminated. Before the world speaks over you, speak life over yourself. Words are seeds, and every word you release into your mind and heart has the power to grow into reality. When you say, I am equipped, I am strong, I am favored, you plant victory before the day even challenges you. You declare who you are in the spirit before circumstances try to define you. The words you speak to yourself in the quiet of the morning are louder than the noise of the world because they shape your mindset, your confidence, and the way you engage with life. Speak life first, and you begin the day with authority over your own destiny. Gratitude is the key that opens doors. When you begin with a simple thank you, you shift from scarcity to abundance, from fear to faith. Gratitude transforms your perception, making you aware of blessings you may have overlooked. It aligns your spirit with favor and positions your mind to see opportunities that others cannot see. Even in the midst of chaos, the heart that gives thanks first is anchored in hope. When you thank God for the breath in your lungs, for the people who love you, for the talents you possess, and even for the challenges that teach you lessons, you magnetize favor and unlock doors that no force can close. Before you speak to the world, visualize your victory. See yourself succeeding. Feel yourself overcoming obstacles. Imagine yourself stepping confidently into your purpose. Visualization is the rehearsal of success. It strengthens your mind and fuels your words with conviction. When you have seen it in your spirit, your words become powerful declarations instead of uncertain hopes. Your imagination is training your actions. Your inner vision prepares your reality. Every victory begins in the mind before it manifests in life, and the clarity of your inner picture dictates the strength of your spoken word. Guard your mind against negativity. The enemy of your potential often lurks in thoughts disguised as doubt, fear, or criticism. If you allow them to take root, your words and actions will follow their direction. Be vigilant. Intercept those negative whispers and replace them with affirmations of faith, hope, and power. Protect your inner dialogue. Feed it with life-giving messages and filter out destructive energy. A mind fortified against negativity becomes a fortress where clarity, confidence, and creativity thrive. Pray first, plan second. Before you check your phone, before you rush into the tasks of the day, bow your heart and speak to God. Prayer is more than asking. It is aligning, centering, and preparing your spirit to navigate the day with wisdom and discernment. When you invite guidance before action, your plans are sharper, your decisions more precise, and your steps more confident. Prayer sets the foundation. Planning builds the house. Without the first, the second is limited by human perspective. With it, your day unfolds with purpose and divine support. Repeat the cycle until it sticks. Transformation is not a one-time effort. It is a process of consistency and persistence. Speak life, express gratitude, visualize victory, guard your mind, and pray without ceasing until these practices become second nature. Every repetition strengthens your character, your mindset, and your faith. The more you anchor your mornings in this cycle, the more automatic your alignment with purpose becomes, and the more unstoppable your momentum is throughout the day. What starts as intentional practice eventually becomes your lifestyle, shaping the way you respond, the way you act, and the way you live. Your day doesn't begin with the alarm. It begins in your spirit. It begins with the words you speak, the gratitude you declare, the vision you hold, and the prayers you lift. Start with thanks. Speak life. Guard your mind. See victory. Pray for guidance. Repeat faithfully. When you do, every moment that follows is fortified with purpose, empowered by faith, and aligned with destiny. The morning is your launch pad, and how you engage it determines the trajectory of your life. Rise, give thanks first, and transform your day into a masterpiece of intention, faith, and divine favor. Before the world has a chance to speak over you, before anyone else gets to define your value, your destiny, or your purpose, you have to learn to speak life over yourself. Every morning, the first words you utter to yourself are not just empty sounds. They are seeds that will take root in the soil of your mind, grow in the garden of your heart, and manifest in the actions of your day. Too many people go through life waiting for someone else to affirm them, waiting for circumstances to tell them they are enough, waiting for approval before they declare victory. But the truth is, the authority to speak life over your own soul has always been in your hands. The words you speak have the power to shape your reality, to shift your mindset, and to ignite the potential that already resides within you. Every time you say, I can, every time you declare, I am capable, you are planting a seed of transformation that will grow stronger with consistency. Think about this. What you tell yourself in the quiet moments when no one else is listening becomes the soundtrack of your life. If your inner dialogue is full of doubt, fear, and limitation, then your day will reflect that. But if your words are full of faith, power, and affirmation, your reality begins to bend toward the life you are envisioning. Speaking life over yourself is not about ignoring challenges or pretending struggles don't exist. It's about declaring who you are in spite of the storm, speaking truth over your circumstances, and refusing to let temporary setbacks define your permanent potential. It's about looking in the mirror each morning and affirming that the work of God, the power of creation, and the resilience of your spirit reside within you. You were not created to live small. You were designed for impact, for purpose, for victory, and it begins with the words you choose to speak. When you speak life over yourself, you are taking control of the narrative. So many people live at the mercy of external opinions, letting criticism, negativity, and the judgments of others shape their identity. But the moment you start to verbalize your worth, your potential, and your blessings, you are reclaiming authority over your mind. Every declaration, every affirmation is like a brick in the foundation of your future. I am strong. I am resilient. I am loved. I am capable of overcoming every obstacle in my path. These are not empty statements. They are spiritual declarations, psychological strategies, and divine alignments all rolled into one. They are words that speak life into places that have been dormant. Words that awaken hope, ignite courage, and summon favor. And it's not just about big declarations. Even the small moments count. The way you respond to difficulty, the self-talk when you feel discouraged, the phrases you use when doubt creeps in. These moments are where your power lives. When fear tells you you can't do this, your response should be louder. I can. I will. I am equipped for this moment. When failure whispers you're not enough, you answer with the truth that has been inside you all along. I am a child of destiny. I am prepared. I will rise. Speaking life over yourself is an act of rebellion against negativity. It is a conscious decision to refuse to let the enemy, the critics, or even your own insecurities dictate the trajectory of your life. Every word you speak is a declaration that you will not be defined by circumstances, limitations, or past mistakes. The beauty of this practice is that it compounds over time. The more consistently you speak life over yourself, the more natural it becomes. It becomes a rhythm, a habit, a spiritual discipline that shapes the way you approach every situation. Soon you find that challenges are no longer insurmountable mountains, but opportunities to rise. Obstacles become stepping stones. Criticism becomes motivation. Speaking life over yourself creates a mindset that refuses to be shaken, a heart that refuses to be discouraged, and a spirit that refuses to be defeated. You are no longer waiting for someone else to validate you, because you have learned to validate yourself with words of power and truth. And remember, the words you speak internally also affect your external reality. Life mirrors the energy you put out. If you are constantly doubting, worrying, or speaking defeat, your actions, your relationships, and your opportunities will reflect that inner state. But when you speak life, when you affirm your abilities, your worth, and your purpose, doors begin to open, minds begin to align, and circumstances start to shift. Speaking life over yourself is not a one-time act. It is a daily declaration, a spiritual exercise, a habit that can transform the trajectory of your life if you commit to it fully and consistently. Gratitude is more than just saying thank you when things go right. It is a posture of the heart, a lens through which you see life, and a declaration that no matter what is happening, you recognize the goodness that surrounds you. Too many people wake up, look at their challenges, and immediately focus on what's missing, what's broken, what hasn't yet happened. They scroll through the news, compare themselves to others, and allow the weight of worry to define the first moments of their day. But gratitude flips that script. Gratitude opens doors that fear, doubt, and negativity keep firmly shut. It is the key that unlocks possibilities. The bridge that connects where you are to where you are meant to be, and the magnet that draws blessings into your life. When you begin your day with a heart of gratitude, you set a chain reaction into motion. You start to notice the doors that were always there but invisible to the anxious, complaining mind. The power of gratitude lies in perspective. It shifts your focus from scarcity to abundance, from limitation to opportunity, from despair to hope. We wake up and intentionally thank God or the universe or life itself for the breath in your lungs, the roof over your head, the people who love you, and the talents that reside within you. You are training your mind to recognize potential instead of problems. Gratitude doesn't just change your attitude, it changes your atmosphere. It alters the energy you carry into the day. People respond to you differently when you are thankful. Opportunities present themselves in ways they never would if you started your day grumbling, complaining, or doubting. Gratitude is not passive, it is active. It is a declaration of faith that even when life is messy, even when circumstances are confusing, there is still something to be thankful for. And in that thankfulness lies power. Many people underestimate the subtle force of gratitude because they think it's only about big moments, getting a promotion, receiving a gift, achieving a goal. But gratitude is even more powerful in the small, seemingly ordinary moments. It is in recognizing the sound of birds outside your window, the warmth of your morning coffee, the hug from a loved one, the lesson learned from a challenge that initially felt like failure. When you acknowledge the ordinary blessings, you build a habit of seeing abundance everywhere. That habit rewires your brain, shifting it from negativity bias to positivity awareness. You begin to anticipate good things, to attract good people, and to notice opportunities that were always within reach but previously invisible. Gratitude is also a spiritual doorway. It aligns your spirit with the flow of life and the favor of God. When you thank Him first thing in the morning, you are saying, I trust you, I believe you, and I acknowledge your hand in my life. That acknowledgement is not just a polite gesture, it is a powerful spiritual act. It positions you to receive guidance, to see solutions, and to walk in favor throughout your day. Doors that were locked, invisible, or hidden suddenly swing open because your heart is aligned with the source of all abundance. Gratitude transforms waiting into expectancy. It transforms fear into faith. It transforms what feels like limitation into opportunity. And it is not only spiritual. Gratitude is practical. A thankful heart sees possibilities where others see problems. It attracts mentors, allies, and opportunities that might otherwise pass unnoticed. Employers, colleagues, and peers respond to gratitude in ways they do not respond to entitlement, complaints, or negativity. People want to be around those who are thankful, who lift energy instead of draining it, who speak life instead of sorrow. Gratitude makes you magnetic. It signals that you recognize value, that you honor the effort of others, and that you are open to receiving what life has to offer. The transformative power of gratitude is also internal. It rewires your nervous system. Scientific studies show that people who regularly practice gratitude experience slower stress, improved mental health, and better decision making. When your mind focuses on abundance, your body responds in ways that prepare you for success. You are calmer, clearer, and more creative. Doors open because your energy has shifted, because your presence has changed, because your mindset is now aligned with possibility. Gratitude is a lens that reveals opportunity, a mindset that cultivates resilience, and a practice that multiplies every blessing in your life. But gratitude is not automatic. It requires intention. It requires stopping, pausing, and reflecting, even in the midst of chaos. It requires saying thank you before breakfast, before checking emails, before reacting to traffic, before engaging with the challenges of the day. When you practice gratitude consistently, it becomes a spiritual and mental habit that cannot be broken easily. It becomes the default response of your heart, and the world responds to that energy. Life begins to unfold differently. Opportunities emerge that you didn't see before. Doors that were hidden or closed seem to appear as if by design, and you realize that the simple act of giving thanks first has shifted the entire trajectory of your day. Too many people speak into their lives without seeing it first. They open their mouths and release words that are heavy with doubt, fear, and limitation. And then they wonder why their reality doesn't match their desires. The truth is, what you speak out into the world is a reflection of what you carry in your mind. Your words are powerful, but their power is amplified or diminished by the vision you hold in your heart. Visualization is the bridge between your faith and your words, between your potential and your reality. It is the rehearsal of success, the blueprint of victory, and the secret weapon that separates those who dream from those who achieve. Before you vocalize anything, you must see it clearly in your mind. You must feel it in your spirit, and you must believe it in your heart. When you visualize before you vocalize, you are telling your soul and the universe, I know what I am capable of, and I refuse to settle for less than what is possible. Visualization is not wishful thinking. It is not daydreaming. It is the deliberate act of creating a mental image of the life you are determined to live. It is seeing yourself overcoming the obstacles that once seemed insurmountable, achieving the goals that others doubted you could reach, and walking in the purpose that was designed for you. Every great leader, every innovator, every trailblazer in history practiced this principle. They saw it first in their mind, rehearsed it in their heart, and then spoke it into existence with words full of authority and faith. Your words cannot carry what your mind and heart have not already seen. Visualization strengthens your confidence. When your mind has already rehearsed success, when your imagination has walked through the corridors of victory, your words become declarations instead of prayers. You speak with certainty because you have already experienced it internally. You feel the joy of accomplishment, the relief of breakthrough, and the satisfaction of completion before it manifests externally. That feeling of ownership, feeling as though you have already arrived, is what fuels bold, unstoppable action. When you visualize before you vocalize, your words are not empty. They are charged with energy, conviction, and authority. You begin to speak life over situations, relationships, and opportunities because you already know where they are going. Visualization also protects you from negative self-talk. Too often people react to circumstances they can't control, speaking defeat and disappointment before giving themselves a chance to rise. When you see the outcome in your mind first, when you mentally walk through the challenges and rehearse solutions, your inner dialogue changes. You no longer respond to fear, you respond to vision. You no longer react to setbacks, you adjust your strategy. Visualization trains your mind to expect success, and expectation is a powerful magnet. What you hold clearly in your imagination begins to manifest in your environment because your thoughts, energy, and words are aligned. But visualization must be deliberate and detailed. You cannot merely picture vague success and hope for miracles. You must see yourself in the moment of triumph, feel the emotions of achievement, hear the sounds, notice the surroundings, and fully immerse yourself in the reality you desire. The clearer your mental image, the stronger your words will be. Every phrase you speak after a vivid visualization is infused with the authority of experience, even if that experience has not yet happened in the physical world. You speak it because you have seen it. You speak it because your mind has rehearsed it. You speak it because your heart has already claimed it. Visualization also aligns your actions with your goals. The mind and body are remarkable partners. When you have rehearsed a success in your mind, your body subconsciously begins to make the moves necessary to bring that vision into reality. Your words become commands that reflect intention, not uncertainty. You are no longer stumbling through the day, reacting to events. You are walking through the day, guiding circumstances. The words you speak are now backed by preparation, faith, and focus. When you visualize before you vocalize, you build a life in your imagination that your words then bring to life. Finally, visualization before vocalization strengthens resilience. You will face obstacles, doubters, and setbacks. But when your mind has already seen the finish line, your words do not waver. You declare victory because your imagination has already rehearsed it, and your faith knows the journey will get you there. Your inner vision becomes an anchor in storms, a compass in confusion, and a source of unshakable confidence. The words you release into the world are no longer prayers of uncertainty, but declarations of inevitability, and people around you begin to respond to that certainty. Your mind is a battlefield, and the thoughts you allow to occupy it determine the quality of your life. Every day, the world will try to speak over you, to tell you that you are not enough, that your dreams are too big, or that your circumstances define you. Negative words, critical opinions, and fear-driven narratives will seek entry, and if you are not vigilant, they will take root and grow, shaping your reality in ways you never intended. Guarding your mind is not optional, it is essential. You cannot control every circumstance, but you can control the conversation inside your head. That inner dialogue, the narrative you feed yourself, is the foundation upon which your destiny is built. If you allow negativity to dominate, your actions, your decisions, and your results will be poisoned before you even step into the day. Negativity is subtle. It doesn't always arrive in obvious forms. It often masquerades as doubt, self-criticism, worry, or even realism. It whispers, you can't do this, that will never work, or you're not ready. And the danger is that when you entertain these thoughts, when you linger in their presence, they begin to shape your perceptions and decisions. One small thought can grow into a mental chain. One worry can multiply into fear. One criticism can become a belief that you carry like a weight on your shoulders. Guarding your mind is the act of intercepting these thoughts before they take hold. It is choosing which voices to listen to, which stories to believe, and which mental seeds to water. Guarding your mind requires awareness. You must pay attention to your internal conversations. What are you saying to yourself when no one else is listening? Are your words building you up or tearing you down? Are you amplifying possibilities or magnifying problems? Awareness is the first line of defense because you cannot protect what you do not recognize. The moment you catch yourself thinking negatively, you have the power to shift. You can replace doubt with faith, worry with preparation, criticism with affirmation, and fear with hope. Every time you intercept a negative thought and redirect it toward truth, you are strengthening your mind and fortifying your spirit. But guarding your mind is not just about stopping negative thoughts. It is about intentionally feeding it with life-giving, empowering messages. Your mind is like a garden. What you plant grows. If you plant fear, worry, and doubt, that is what will grow. If you plant faith, confidence, and vision, your life will reflect that. Affirmations, declarations of truth and gratitude are tools to protect your mind. They build walls against the intrusion of negativity and create an environment where your potential can flourish. When your mind is fortified with positive, empowering thoughts, the attacks of negativity lose their power. You begin to respond from a place of strength rather than react from a place of fear. Guarding your mind also requires discipline in what you consume. The books you read, the shows you watch, the conversations you engage in, and the people you allow influence over your thoughts all matter. Negativity can enter through these channels as well, disguised as entertainment, advice, or casual chatter. Protecting your mind means filtering what you allow in and being deliberate about your intake. Surround yourself with messages that inspire, uplift, and challenge you to be better. Remove yourself from environments that reinforce fear, envy, or doubt. The energy you allow into your mind directly shapes the quality of your thoughts, words, and actions. Another critical aspect of guarding your mind is mastering the pause. Negative thoughts often catch us in moments of reaction when we are tired, stressed, or distracted. Learning to pause, reflect, and choose your response gives you control over your mental landscape. You may not be able to control the initial intrusion of negativity, but you can control whether it takes root. A pause allows you to filter your thoughts, to align them with your values, and to replace destructive narratives with empowering ones. This is the discipline that separates those who succumb to mental attacks from those who rise above them. Finally, guarding your mind requires faith. Faith in yourself, in your purpose, and in the guidance that surrounds you. You will face storms, setbacks, and critics, but the fortress of your mind can remain unshakable if it is rooted in truth. When you protect your inner dialogue, when you speak life over yourself, when you visualize before you vocalize, and when you refuse to let fear dictate your story, you create a mental environment where possibility thrives. Guarding your mind is a spiritual, psychological, and practical act. It is the armor you wear before you step into the battles of your day, the shield that deflects attacks, and the foundation upon which your victories are built. Too often, we start our days rushing, checking emails, scrolling through social media, or diving headfirst into the chaos of life without pausing to center ourselves. We make plans, set schedules, and strategize, believing that organization alone will produce success. But there is a principle far greater than any plan or calendar. Prayer first, planning second. Prayer is not just a ritual. It is the alignment of your spirit with divine wisdom, the calibration of your heart with purpose, and the preparation of your mind for the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. Before you make decisions, before you outline tasks, before you strategize your next move, pause and connect. There is power in speaking to the source of all wisdom, the one who knows the beginning from the end, the one who sees what you cannot yet see, and the one whose guidance turns good plans into extraordinary outcomes. When you pray first, you are not just asking for things. You are positioning yourself to receive insight. Life is unpredictable, and no amount of planning can account for every variable. You may have mapped out every detail, created the perfect schedule, and prepared meticulously, but without guidance, your plans are limited by your perspective. Prayer opens your mind to possibilities you cannot imagine on your own. It clears confusion, illuminates the path, and provides clarity in the midst of uncertainty. The act of prayer before planning is a recognition that your mind alone is not enough. You need wisdom, discernment, and direction that comes from a higher source. When you invite this guidance first, everything you do afterward is fortified. Your strategies are sharper, your goals are aligned with purpose, and your decisions carry the weight of insight rather than assumption. Praying first also prepares your heart. It cultivates patience, strengthens faith, and builds resilience. When challenges arise, and they always will, you are not caught off guard. Your heart has been anchored in prayer, and your spirit has been fortified with confidence that you are not walking alone. Planning without prayer often leads to frustration because life does not go according to plan. And when setbacks happen, they feel insurmountable. But when your planning follows prayer, your steps are intentional, your reactions are measured, and your perspective is grounded. You are able to navigate difficulties with calm assurance, knowing that your efforts are supported by wisdom that transcends circumstances. Prayer first equips you to face challenges with clarity, courage, and focus. Another reason to pray before planning is that it aligns your plans with your purpose. Too many people spend their lives executing strategies that do not belong to them, chasing goals that are borrowed or dictated by others. When you pray first, you connect with your true calling and receive guidance about what steps to take, what opportunities to pursue, and what directions to avoid. Prayer filters out distractions, unnecessary detours, and plans that are misaligned with your highest good. It is a spiritual compass pointing you toward actions that honor your purpose and fulfill your destiny. When you allow prayer to guide your planning, you move with intention rather than desperation, with focus rather than frenzy. Prayer first also teaches humility. It reminds you that no matter how talented, prepared, or ambitious you are not in control of everything. There are forces beyond your understanding, variables outside your influence, and timing that only divine wisdom can orchestrate. Recognizing this truth does not weaken you, it empowers you. It opens the door for supernatural guidance, favor, and opportunities that human planning alone cannot produce. Your plans become more effective because they are anchored in perspective, wisdom, and alignment rather than ego, haste, or frustration. Finally, praying first cultivates a mindset of gratitude and faith. You begin your day acknowledging the source of life, the giver of wisdom, and the one who sustains your efforts. Gratitude in prayer sets the tone for your planning. It transforms the process from a mechanical checklist into a purposeful, intentional act. You approach your day with confidence, knowing that your steps are guided, your efforts are supported, and your path is illuminated. prayer first is not a passive act. It is an active declaration that your plans will be strengthened, your decisions will be wise, and your actions will be fruitful. It is the foundation upon which your strategies gain momentum, clarity, and purpose. Success is not a one-time event. It is the result of consistency, discipline, and repetition. The truth is that your thoughts, words, and actions do not instantly transform into habits, and habits do not immediately translate into character. It takes time, patience, and persistence. That is why the principle of repeat the cycle until it sticks is so powerful. You must consciously, deliberately, and intentionally practice the habits of faith, gratitude, visualization, protection of your mind, and prayer every single day until they become woven into the fabric of who you are. It is not enough to do them sporadically or when it is convenient. Transformation comes through relentless, repeated action, repeated alignment with purpose, and repeated declarations of life and truth over yourself. Every repetition strengthens neural pathways, every intentional act rewires your brain, and every cycle reinforces the narrative that you are destined for more. The cycle begins with awareness and intention. You start each day choosing to speak life over yourself, to visualize your victory, to guard your mind, to give thanks, and to pray before you plan. At first, these practices may feel forced or unnatural because your mind is accustomed to fear, doubt, and distraction. Your words may stumble, your thoughts may wander, and your focus may falter. That is normal. Transformation is rarely immediate. The key is to persist, to repeat these acts daily until they become automatic, until they are no longer conscious efforts but natural expressions of your spirit, and until they are the default mode of your inner dialogue. Every day that you repeat the cycle, the habits become stronger, the mindset becomes firmer, and the alignment between your thoughts, words, and actions becomes clearer. Repetition also builds resilience. Life will test you, and your first attempts may not produce visible results. You may face setbacks, distractions, and disappointments, and in those moments, it is easy to question whether the cycle is worth maintaining. But the principle of repeating until it sticks is about trusting the process, even when results are delayed. Every repetition is an investment in your future self, a deposit in the account of your character, and a step toward the life you are meant to live. You are training your mind, your heart, and your spirit to respond to challenges with faith, clarity, and purpose. You are building momentum that cannot be undone by temporary failures or external opposition. The power of repetition also lies in compounding. Every day you repeat the cycle, the small shifts in your thoughts, words, and actions accumulate. A single moment of gratitude may seem insignificant, but when practiced consistently, it reshapes your perception of life. A single declaration of life over yourself may feel minor, but repeated consistently, it becomes a foundation for confidence, faith, and perseverance. Visualization followed by vocalization may seem like a simple mental exercise, but over time, it trains your brain to recognize opportunity, to see solutions, and to align your actions with your purpose. Prayer before planning, practiced daily, becomes a habit of guidance and discernment that ensures your efforts are strategic and inspired. Each component of the cycle reinforces the others, creating a synergy that accelerates growth and transformation. Repetition also cements character. What you do consistently shapes who you are more than what you do occasionally. Habits become values, values become identity, and identity determines destiny. When you repeat the cycle until it sticks, you are shaping the core of who you are. You are teaching your mind to focus on possibility rather than limitation. Your heart to respond with gratitude and faith rather than fear, and your spirit to trust guidance and alignment rather than rush into chaos. Every repetition reinforces a mindset of purpose, a discipline of action, and a foundation of resilience that no circumstance can easily shake. The cycle is also a tool for empowerment. The more you repeat it, the more your inner dialogue, habits, and decisions become intentional rather than reactive. You stop being a passenger in your own life and become the driver, steering with clarity, conviction, and confidence. You are no longer at the mercy of circumstance, other people's opinions, or fleeting emotions. Instead, your thoughts, words, and actions are aligned with the vision you hold, the truth you embrace, and the purpose you are fulfilling. Repetition ingrains these patterns so deeply that they become second nature, ensuring that you operate from a place of strength, wisdom, and faith, even in the midst of challenges. Finally, repeating the cycle until it sticks is about perseverance and faith in the unseen. Transformation is a process, not an event. Change does not happen overnight, and mastery is not achieved through occasional effort. It is forged through the steady, persistent, and relentless commitment to practice the principles that shape your mind, heart, and spirit. Every day you rise and repeat the cycle, you are taking a step closer to the person you were meant to be. The cycle, when practiced consistently, becomes unstoppable, creating a momentum that propels you forward. Your reality and ingrains into your being the patterns of life, faith, and victory.